Mackie running hard on the southern wing. Kick in his direction. It's a beauty from Enrod. He didn't have to break stride. Now he closes to within 55. Driving kick is a goal! Andrew Mackie, wonderful team goal.
There was a big moment early in the piece against the Dogs, and Andrew Mackie, who was one of those stars across the half-back line, along with Corey Enright, has been able to join us in the studio. Welcome to On the Couch.
Thanks, guys.
You certainly have had plenty of heat as a club over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you answered in emphatic style on the weekend.
Yeah, it was good. It's we were up against it from different papers and whatnot, but it's a big final. And you do want to get that week's rest and go through to prelim, and we were able to do that.
That scrutiny has really come on the back of the Geelong St Kilda game earlier in the season, and you've seemed to have tailed off a little bit. What's been the impact around the club after that game?
Well, we were up for that St Kilda game, and there's no doubt we gave them a 30-point head start pretty much, and came back, and it was actually a really good game of footy. And as a club, we didn't look back at it and think, we're far behind. I mean, we lost by 6 points. We minus a couple of players. From that, we probably, we lost a few in the Brisbane game through injury and whatnot, and probably just lost a bit of momentum, I suppose. Losing players does have a bit to do with that, but, we were able to win games at times, probably not playing the best footy, and whether that's a good thing or not, it was just good to come out on the weekend, as you said, first half, play some good footy and go through.
Stephen Wells has had some excellent choices at the recruiting table over the years, Andrew. One of them was in 2002 when you were taken at number 7. Now, you'd played no senior footy at all, had you? You were playing school footy, weren't you?
School footy, and from, I think Wellsy might have rang up Glenelg Footy Club and said to give me a game in the 2, so I played 2 games in the holidays there.
I spoke to you in the summer of 2003-04. You're 6'4", you were 70 kilos, and I reckon you'd thrown a couple in there and couldn't do one chin-up, is that right?
That's correct, Mike, yeah.
So have you had to, you still don't, you're hardly sort of a massive figure now, but do you do any weights, or have you just sort of decided that you don't need to?
Well, yeah, I do weights.
No proof of it.
Mate, I'm against 3 big blokes here, mate. I suppose it's not saying it does come naturally to me. I suppose everyone finds it different. I know what I have to do now, after playing some senior footy. I know what my body can take and what I have to do to get myself right. I do have goals to become stronger, and I know I'm not going to be bulky and that sort of thing, but you do have to hold your ground, and I'm continually working on that, and the senior players drive that as well.
So do you choose to play off your opponents so that you don't actually get in a test of strength? Is it?
No, I have different attributes to someone else. At times I find that I have to probably read the game better than others to make up for different things. It depends who I'm playing on. I feel my leg speed is quite good, so I'm able to go with them, and quite long arms, I'm able to do a spoil. But if I can read the game and try and avoid a wrestle, I'll probably try and do that. Yeah.
We marvel at Matthew Scarlett on a weekly basis. I think people forget just how good he is sometimes because he produces such consistent performances. But once again on the weekend, he just emphasised how good he was. He must be great to A, be around and B, learn from.
Yeah, you said it right there. He's and he gets up for the big games. You can tell all week that he drives us. He puts a lot of pressure on at training. If you mark up a kick or whatnot, he'll get into you, and he's really driven for success, and for that to be such a great player and to be so driven, he's great for guys like me and younger guys coming through.
Has one of the big disruptions been that your back 6 just hasn't been together for most of the year with injuries? Has that strengthened the team by bringing other players through, or has that been a massive disruption?
It's been a bit of both, I suppose. James Kelly came in and played a role. Even for Josh Hunt, we forget about Josh Hunt and what he's had to do. Other players have had to adapt all year, and James Kelly, who we actually missed for 7 games, probably took him for granted early in the year, and for his to come through the last 2 weeks, he's been absolutely fantastic. And as you said, Hales, and we missed Scarlo and Harry Taylor missed a couple of games during the year. It's great that we can have them guys back.
Corey Enright had 17 possessions in the first quarter. No other player in the history of the AFL has had 17 possessions in a quarter in a final. He was unstoppable. You had the ball on a string yourself. Do you feel as if sometimes you just get so much free rein from opposition clubs? Do you plan for Plan B if they go man on man with you?
Look, every game's different. The way that planned out, I was playing on Jono, and I think they decided at times to drop a couple back, and why wouldn't we give the ball to a Corey Enright who can use the ball so well? So every game's different, and I think they tried to take Boris back in the third quarter. They tried to take on Ackermanis, but every game's different, yeah.
Andrew, how's Dale Amos going? He didn't have a lot of stats on the weekend, but this is Dale Amos, first up runner in your team. I must say, he ran across the line. I must say, it staggered me that you could have a runner. This is not you to answer, I guess, but why the club would have introduced a runner in a final. And he got caught out. Here's Sean Higgins with the footy, 50-metre penalty because he went into his territory he wasn't supposed to, and a goal results. Yeah,
I think he's probably a bit embarrassed about that, but he's copped it today actually, and we're actually talking about it. We watched the Friday night game and saw the Adelaide runner went through, and we're said don't be nervous, mate, and all that sort of thing, and unfortunately it happened.
Can I ask you how much the game would be different if we didn't have runners? We have interchanges now over 100, so every player is capable every 5 or 10 minutes, it seems, being able to communicate directly with the coach. What would happen, do you think, if the AFL said, righto, runners are out?
Players would have to remember a few set times, wouldn't they?
So they come out specifically to tell you to get off? Yeah,
a lot of the times, yeah. It's, just this sort of thing, rotate, come off. Different time. Later in the game, they might be saying, 30 seconds, whatnot, but yeah, it's a good question.
I want to ask you about the reaction in the Western Bulldogs box after they beat Collingwood in round 22. We made a bit of it. Did you blokes at Geelong sort of draw anything out of that? Because the body language of the doggies was that they were really pleased that they'd won that game by the margin that got them into a final with you.
Yeah, I did see it. I think, they'd just beaten Collingwood, who were an in-form side of the competition, leading into final series, which, for your confidence is obviously going to be great. And, in round 21 they beat us, so they had every reason to be happy, and we didn't draw into it too much, no.
Kenny Hinkley's coaching prospects, obviously he went very close at Richmond from all reports. What's his great strength? A former teammate many years ago at Fitzroy. Actually, we crossed paths in the pre-season a long time ago.
No, he's a great coaching prospect. I can't speak highly enough of him. He's been in my corner for a long time now, and you know where you sit with Kenny. But has that he tells you where you're at, as well as you get confidence. He could deliver a spray, but you walk out of that feeling I belong. I think the way he played, his sort of flair, and he sort of backs that side of things in. But when it's time to get tough and work hard, he'll push that more than anyone.
Did you get a spray last quarter Saturday when you lost your footing?
Yeah, I did come off, and I put the headphones on at one stage there, but I don't think Bomber saw the shoe off there. And
you can't tell because white boots and white. Yeah.
So you only had a sock on?
You lost one.
Yeah, I had a sock on there, but I did tell him that on the headphones.
Well, you're lucky you told Mike he was going to give you an enormous cook here tonight, but he didn't realise that.
But we think, a lot of us think that you blokes pick the footwear that's more comfortable than more practical. That's all.
Yeah, I couldn't help that. A minute before the shoe came off, but I was wearing the moulds there, and I think that was the first time for the game, pretty much.
Just a quick one. Gary Ablett, he was criticised by people, Watson, Matthews and Sheehan, about 6 weeks ago, getting cheap kicks, not working hard enough, being a bit individualistic. Do you think his game's changed in the last 3 or 4 weeks?
I definitely know that he's been great for us the last 3 or 4 weeks. Whether or not that had anything to do with it, I'm not quite sure, but he would have read it, and it's hard not to, he was everywhere. Whether he went away and thought, I've got to change or whatnot, but, he's been great, and on the weekend was the same.
You've just signed a 4-year deal with the Catch, which means you're tied there probably for your life. It's so far been a fantastic marriage for you and the club. We look forward to watching you develop over the next few years, but in particular how you go over the next few weeks. Good luck, and thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Andrew.
Andrew Mackie, who has been a star across that half-back line. Pressure's on all of the Cats over the next few weeks. Time for us to take a break. We'll have a look at the MVP awards straight up.